Now, I want you to also understand something. From an accounting and software perspective, both softwares do follow your GAAP principles. So it's all the same in terms of that. It's just how you toggle through the windows and doing your daily workflow. There are essential differences. So, one of the things that I found to be very interesting about BC was our item classes. And before I get into the classes, I want to pay you to pay attention to a few things. GP allows you to do overrides on, if you notice, you have three different document types. You have your transaction, which is your adjustment overrides, your variance, which is also a transaction, but it's a different document type. And then you have your transfer overrides. In BC, where those overrides are concerned, we have here, let's do an edit here, prevent negative inventory. That is whether you're doing any transaction. It will not allow the system to go negative. Now, toggling the buttons or the options here, if you look at my mouse, I have prevent negative inventory. If I toggle this on, that means now I will not allow negative inventory. Well, I have negative inventory in my environment, so I'm going to leave that on for right now. Okay, so also your cost adjustments, lot expiration, you can use expired lots and the same thing in BC. But let's go into our classes. Classes in GP. Oh, let me close that again. I want you to see that error message that just popped up. If I click classes, it's going to tell me I do not have a default class. In GP, you don't have to have a default class for your items. You can set one up so that when you are creating items, it will default to whatever your class ID is. Well, in BC, we would look to our inventory posting setup. And this is pretty much the same thing in terms of accounting item or account numbers rather. So I want you to look at something. I have locations that are empty and I have locations that are filled. When you have locations that are empty, as far as your class ID and your default posting groups, the inventory that posts to these non location codes will sit in what's called an unspecified location. So let me go back really quick and show you something. When you have unspecified locations, it does not necessarily cause you an issue with posting. It's just you have to know to go to an unspecified location to move your inventory into your locations. But if you want locations to be mandatory, you would make sure you toggle this on to say that locations are mandatory. Well, in GP, you have to choose a site in order for your material to sit somewhere. And what I mean by that is, let's take you to a smart list really quickly. All right. So in GP, you have locations and then you have a record type. So your unspecified site in BC does not have a correlation in GP at all. You must have a site location. If you notice here, I have location code all sites. That means everything um, calculated together in each individual site for an item. And then you have the individual sites that you can look and capture or look at your inventory values, whether they be positive, negative, or zero. Okay, so with that being said, let's get back over to GP. All right, so where our item class is concerned, when I'm looking at my posting groups, if you notice to the bottom right of my GP window in my item class setup window, I have a set of accounts. These accounts, if I had any setup, let's go and grab a. So I have all of my accounts set up here. Now, I want you to pay attention to something that I have going on in the background of my main item class setup window. I have two other accounts. These are ISVs. This scrap account maintenance, this is an ISV. And this account class setup costing, this is for manufacturing. So if you don't have manufacturing and you don't have Willowware ISV, you will not see these two windows. So I don't want you to be alarmed if you see something different on my screen than yours. All right, so these would be, my accounts here would be my posting groups in GP, okay, or in BC rather. So if you noticed, when I looked at the posting, the location groups in my NBC, it said a series of codes, and those codes finished, raw material, and resale. So what you would have to do is set up your inventory posting groups so that when you do start to transact within BC, you will see your inventory posting setup would be to those individual posting codes set up to a location. Now, I'm going to show you, like I showed you the smart list in GP, where you had an item associated with a location, and you can have one item to assigned to many locations in GP or all locations. The same thing can be true for BC, depending on where you move the inventory to. But your accounts, your inventory posting setup would be the same as your item class setup.